You're listening to The Green Room from Hartford Studios. Production, creativity, conversation, and a girl who loves spreadsheets.
Hello and welcome back to The Green Room. I am so excited for today's episode. We have got the gorgeous Hannah Couzens here, who is a very well-known, if you don't know her, where have you been, portrait photographer. So hello Hannah, welcome.
Hello, thank you for having me. Do you know what, anytime I do anything like this when there's an intro, I get so embarrassed. It's like, oh no.
They're talking about
that's
me.
kind of you. Yeah, I know. I just am kind of like, when you want to hide under the table. Yeah. But no, that's lovely. Thank you. And thank you for having me.
No, thanks for coming in.
Thanks for coming,
I feel bad doing the intros as well. I feel really, but we've got it. We're fine.
We did it.
We're here. Welcome to The Green Room, our podcast.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
No, I'm really excited because you are a photographer that we've worked with quite a few times. You've used the studio so many times.
Yeah, I love it.
So I feel like we know you. We know the kids. We know the husband. We're all working together.
We kind of come as a package. It's
You
kind of
are a
like,
package.
for the last 4.5 years of my life, it's pretty much been like, if I was going to do anything, it's like, well, the kids are coming too?
Kids coming.
Because I went back to work extremely quickly and because I was asked to, but it was always the kind of thing where I said, I can, however, I have a baby and I need to feed him. And they were like, yeah, just bring him along. And
We'll come back to that because I really think that's a key thing to understand about being a photographer or working anyway and juggling home-life balance. But how did you get into photography?
Oh man, long story.
You've been around ages.
I
remember
I'm
you
old,
from
Rob.
St Albans.
I'm old, Rob. I'm basically. It's funny because last year, so 2025 was my 20th year in business.
Was it 20 years? Wow.
Mad.
Okay.
And
Congratulations.
Thank you. It's just one of those weird things where it's kind of scary because. Like just the other week, I got an inquiry because I used to have basically 2 family portrait studios. So my first one was in Cuffley, a small little village in between Potter's Bar and somewhere else. But I opened that when I was 22. So that was I was very, very young, but it was good.
And you're still only 30. Have you managed that?
I know. You're too kind. But it was one of those things that we grew at the right pace, if you know what I mean. It was in a village. It was the right time. I was only 22. Didn't have any of the commitments that I have now. And it just sort of grew and grew. That's a whole sort of separate thing in itself. But back to your original question of how did I get into photography, that was one of those things that I was always kind of like creative at school. I wasn't bad. I would say like I'm middle ground, everything. Like I passed everything kind of well. Didn't excel in anything apart from French, randomly.
Oh, really?
But
Okay.
let's not go there. It's been a while.
I think we're going to test you on that later.
Exactly, I know. But it was one of those things that I loved the creative subjects, but I could never paint or draw to save my life, and that's true to this day. So once I was a friend of mine. She was a bit older than me. Her dad had like an old metal-bodied Pentax, and he chucked a roll of film in it for us, and sort of went, there you go. And we went out one day and just shot anything, like literally, we were shooting like shoes in puddles, anything you do to play with it. And what I loved about it is once it was developed, I realised that was the thing that I was trying to do, but I could never do with perspective and shadow.
In your art.
Yes, through painting or drawing, because using aperture, for example, to create some depth and using like light and shadow. These were all the things that I really wanted to do, but I just couldn't do it.
Couldn't get it from there to the paper.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I was like, this is the thing. And then subsequently on from there, now people will probably know me a lot more for my work with lighting. That was the thing. I just sort of fell into it and learning lighting, and that was how I learned how to create like shadow and dimension and all those sorts of things.
Would you say you've focused more, because I know you're renowned for being extremely good at lighting, and I think you've associated with a major brand, aren't you, for that?
Yeah.
And would you say it's the lighting that you enjoy more than the photography, or the photography you enjoy more than the lighting?
I think
or does it go hand in hand?
They do go hand in hand, but lighting is definitely like my passion. And I will always say this to people, that lighting is everything, because you can make or break how someone is portrayed, how they actually look. You can make someone look like a different person, depending on the lighting that you use, whether you're creating shadows, whether you're using hard light, soft light, all these sorts of things. And this is what's so important, is that when people come to me and they say, I look really bad in photos, it's like, you probably don't. It's just that you've been possibly not lit in a way that is the most flattering for you, and possibly wrong focal length, not know how to pose, all these different things that all come hand in hand to make a good portrait. But I would say, lighting is like 101.
Yeah.
And out of the two, if you asked me to sit down and talk all day about cameras versus talking all day about lighting, I would choose lighting all day.
You would, yeah?
Definitely. Yeah. It's my thing.
Okay. It is your thing.
Yeah.
That's what because you were at the camera show recently, weren't you?
Yeah. I did it was it the NEC? It was the NEC this year because they started alternating. But the photography, they can now call it the photography and video show.
Okay.
But yeah, it's like I think it's like the biggest show in Europe now.
Yeah.
It's
huge, isn't it?
Now that
And you were up on stage, weren't you?
Yeah. It's all I've done for the last 8 years. Is every year I've been out there either for Pro Photo or Sony or for the show itself on one of the live stage, like shooting live. I think that's the thing with me is that I am not afraid to shoot live. I'm not afraid to make mistakes. A lot of people, I don't know what it is with our industry, but sometimes people just feel like they have to be seamless and perfect and never ever make a mistake, and it's just not real life. And
It's not at all.
something will always go wrong, but some things go wrong on set, some things go wrong in real life in front of a client. That's just how it is. It's how you deal with it, and the fact that you just are okay with it and make everybody.
I think you learn that though over time, don't you? That it's okay to make a mistake because
totally.
when you first start out, you just want to be so perfect, don't you? That's
Your work as well as photographers is so visual. So if you mess it up, you're so worried that other people are going to see that, when in reality, coming from someone that's not a photographer, you may have made a mistake, or you thought you've made a mistake, and I don't see it.
No,
But
that's right.
And so it's like, it's actually okay. And then that's, let's be fair, everybody's eyes are on everybody with social media.
Yep.
So everybody feels that they have to be perfect when actually you don't at all. It's
No.
just normal life, isn't it? It's okay to
Totally.
mess up. It's okay that flash wasn't working properly, and
absolutely.
And actually,
As long as you fix it.
As long as you fix it, yeah.
Well, that happened to me live on stage this year. So I was in front of, had the live stage, which is the big one. I don't even know. I think capacity is about 500. I don't know. Maybe 300. I don't know. I can't even remember. You don't count. You just see a sea of people.
Sea of heads.
And it's only afterwards you start going, oh, God, that was quite a lot of people. But basically everything was working fine. Everything had worked perfectly. I did the same demo the day before, just put the kit back in my bag, got it out again. And for some reason, there was just a small thing. My trigger wasn't triggering one of the lights in a certain way I needed it to be used. And I was like, okay, well, that's not working. And in the end, do you know what I did? I took the trigger off, blew on it, put it back on again, it worked. Yeah. I was like,
So
well,
turn it off and on.
Yeah. I was like, well, process of elimination.
tends to work with most things.
Yeah, but I'm mic'd up. Yeah, it's
So you're
true.
mic'd up in front of 500
I'm
people.
mic'd up, and I just said to him, I was like, okay, well, that's not working. So now we've got to figure out why it's not working.
Yeah.
So could it be this? Let's try this. Okay. And
It's just so authentic doing it that way, isn't it? It's like what happens on a shoot. It's stuff like that. That's what happens.
100%. And the thing is, you could go all into your head and start thinking, oh no, people are going to be thinking of this. Like that could have happened to anyone.
But it does happen to everyone. And the thing is, I think it's really reassuring when they see it happen to someone that's on stage at the NEC and they go, oh, it's not just me.
And, and totally. And I'm the first. I think there's that not having the fear. I think for myself now, I feel like if you are authentic, people will, even if they don't agree with what you're doing, they will respect the fact that you're being authentic. Rather, you can smell when somebody is just not being themselves. So for me, and there's been plenty of times, like I was doing some demos and I was like, well, it does help if you turn it on. Like, so it's human error. I forgot to turn it on. So it caused, I'm honest about it. I'm mic'd up. We laugh about it between us. But if I'd have kind of, tried to gloss over it, it would have been awful. Yeah. So I'm just like, I think everybody knows what they're going to get with me, is that I'm just always myself. And, sometimes it's seamless and sometimes it's really bumpy and rocky, but it's just life.
It's just part of the journey, isn't it?
How did you, so going back, you had two family portrait studios.
Yes, yeah.
And how have you ended up going from a photographer doing that kind of work to being quite an educational? Because if you, on your social media, you're very much about how you set up the lighting for certain, depending on the location you're at, you're quite an educational sort of person, and your YouTube channel is the same. So how did you diversify from being that kind of photographer to sharing that kind of knowledge?
Yeah, it's a good question.
A lot of people want to hold it like that, don't they? They don't want to share it.
Yes, and it's very true that a lot of people do. You're right. There's a lot of gatekeepers, and so it's a strange thing. So basically, my journey was I opened the studio in Cuffley at 22. Then started to employ a couple of people. Found out that it was like a bit seasonal because we were a village. It would be really busy at Christmas, quiet for the rest of the time, and it'd be a bit up and down. a friend of mine was looking for office space in St Albans. I went up there with her and just looked around. And at that point in time, like bearing in mind this was 20 years ago, I was like, well, where's the photographer? Because it was very, very territorial. Like this person had this place, this person had this place. It was very much like that. And I was like, well, where's the photographer? And there just wasn't one. There was one, and they was closing down. And I thought, blimey, that's probably why, the rent and everything. But I stood outside this shop and I just thought, the shop that I had on London Road. And while I just started making inquiries, and I took on this absolute dive. And I remember standing waiting for the agent outside, and we were in so much traffic, and all the traffic was standing there looking at you. And I was like, this is the one. Because that is
your shop front. That is just advertising there, isn't it?
It was the perfect position of where people. It was the cut through towns for all the major routes. Everybody would stop at the traffic lights, and for some reason, everybody looked right, not left. And I don't know why. Probably because you're on that side of the car. I don't know. But I was like, wow, this is so valuable.
Prime.
That you're going to, prime location. You're going to have all these eyes on the shop. So I took that. I ran them both for, I think, maybe 3-4 years, and then found that St Albans was so much busier. And the way that I designed the actual space was that there was 2 areas to shoot in, so you could run 2 shoots simultaneously at the same time. And then in the end, the other thing that did happen, of course, is that a lot of my previous clients wanted me to do the shoot. So even though I had other photographers there, they still wanted me to do it. So I found that I started alternating Saturdays, our busiest day. I would be Saturday I'd be in Cuffley, and then the following week I'd be in St Albans. And what started to happen is that where I was, and I'm not saying this for my own ego, it's just that people knew me, that they would wait until I was where I needed to be. So in the end, what was happening is I had 2 premises, but I would be working really hard in one place and basically paying staff to run a shop that was empty for the week that I wasn't there, or the weekend that I wasn't there. And it just made no financial sense in the end. So closed one, moved up to the other.
So which you closed the Cuffley one,
yes,
did you?
Yes, that's right. Sorry, Rob. Yeah, so that kind of, we kind of grew out of that together. And I always say that if I'd opened St Albans, if I'd done it the other way around, if I'd opened St Albans when I was 22, I wouldn't have been able to cope because I wasn't ready. We grew together. It was like, a good time to move. And then, so we ended up closing Cuffley, opening St Albans and doing that. This is coming back to your question, Charmaine. This is very long-winded, but I haven't forgotten it. This is a long story.
This is going to be a long podcast, this one.
Yeah, I know. There's a lot. 20 years I got to get in
20 years,
but it's basically what happened from there is I was running some courses on, people were asking me, do you do any courses on how to use a camera? And I did used to do that, but what I found a little bit difficult at times was obviously, there's so many makes and models of camera. Everybody is at different levels. Some people have never got it out of the box before. Some people knew something, and trying to figure out where this setting was on this type of brand of camera for this person, blah, 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 blah. I found it all quite difficult. So in the end, what I decided to do was make a YouTube series, which was, I thought if I record this once and just explain the basics of ISO, shutter speed, aperture, composition, focus points, things like that, and record it once, it doesn't matter what brand you're using, I can direct all people to that thing, and then they can stop it and go back again, and if they forgot it,
so did you put this out on just general release, or was this part of a training course that you were running?
Yeah, no, this had a journey of its own. I was basically involved with somebody else, and we had the opportunity to take it somewhere else. But that
sounds very cloak and dagger. With somebody else.
Yeah, I know. But basically, we parted ways because somebody was trying to get more out of it than they needed. Anyway, so it went out for general kind of release. So I put it. It was in my shop window. Like one Christmas, it was like photography courses. The adverts were up there. You could buy a gift card for people for Christmas. At that point in time, this is all coming back, I promise. At that point in time, the marketing manager for ProPhoto drove past my shop and saw those in the window. Then checked it out, saw me on camera. And I also did something else that year, which I decided I came up with this idea, which was what I called an Advent lighting calendar. So in that December, for every day that...
Done a different lighting
technique. Yeah, I did a different lighting setup.
Brilliant.
So I posted the photo and then the behind the scenes. And then... So he'd seen it, he saw me on camera, saw everything linked on my social media. I went, hang on a minute. So this girl knows how to light something 24 different ways. We've seen her on camera. And then they wanted to chat. So we had a chat. And then 3 months later, I was on stage for them. And
that's amazing.
That happened. And then I got picked up. Some people were over from Sweden, which is where they are based. They saw my talk. And then I got picked up to be one of 4 educators in the world for their program, their academy program, which I was the only.
And this is just to clarify, Pro Photo, isn't it?
That was Pro Photo. Yeah. So that was my journey into it, and so I suppose that long-winded journey, and the reason I'm saying that is sometimes the thing that you intend to do, like to put a little bit out on social media to maybe help people or get some engagement or something like that, that might, people want to know.
And it's just massively changed your whole course.
100%. Little did I think I didn't think for 1 second when I'm sitting there filming this tutorial on how to use focus points. I mean, did I think that it would lead to what I do now? I've been to China, Germany, I've been all over the place doing what I love.
And you love doing it. And
I love it.
And you're such a natural when you're teaching people how to do things. You're not, I can't think of what the word is, not intimidating at all, because it can be quite technical, can't it? So you are really sort of like approachable and...
Totally. I think, unfortunately, I've sat in the audience, and I think that was another thing when I was learning as well, because there wasn't YouTube. Things like this didn't exist. But when I was learning, I was sat in the audience and I watched some people, and the way that they were teaching is that it was very holier than thou. They would always kind of like, well, when you're at my level, and I just thought, oh my God. And it just was so exactly that. It was alienating for people. And I thought this is the opposite of how... This is not helpful.
Person at all, though, is it?
Not at all. And I just thought this is not helpful for people. Like either you want to teach people things or you don't. Like, which way are you? And basically that's how it all came about. And I still say to this day is that I'm not the best photographer in the world by any means at all. But I think why I get hired is I seem to possibly have the ability to translate the language of what I know into something that people can understand. So I think I get hired because I'm able to translate that technical jargon and stuff into a way, present it in a way that isn't intimidating for people. And I want to inspire people, and I want people to feel like they can have a go.
And I think it's understanding a client's brief as well, because I say the same thing, don't I? I say I'm not the best photographer in the world, but I can listen to a client and deliver what they want.
That's it.
Whereas you get some fantastically technical photographers, and what they'll do is they'll go out and the client will say to them, right, we want this and we want it to look like that, and they'll go, well, but I prefer it that way, and they'll deliver something that they do, and that I think that is what stands you apart from other photographers, is taking a brief and listening.
That's it, because the thing is all that's going to happen is that if you don't listen to the client or give them what they want, they're not going to hire you again, are they?
Exactly.
So you're exactly right, Rob. It just comes down to like in your case, listening to what the client wants and delivering what they want, and treating them. And then I say that with everything. It's not just with your clients. It's not just one thing. It's not just the photos. It's how you make them feel, the correspondence.
It's quite an intimate experience, isn't it? When especially for portrait photography.
For portrait, it is. Construction, not so much.
No, well, I hope not. Anyway,
I don't know. A few of the guys I've worked with, I don't know.
Whatever goes on site stays on site.
I nearly really made an innuendo. I'm going to stop.
It's a whole new channel. But it is, it's an intimate experience.
It is.
And these pictures are hopefully what you're going to be putting out there to the world. So you've got to be with someone that's going to understand and help you with your poses and make you look the best you can possibly be.
Totally. Even we said just now, even doing this, like our job most of the time is being on the other side. So it's really, it is actually uncomfortable. Yeah. Like we don't like it.
You love it though, don't you?
No.
You
can tell. No?
Anytime you get a photographer to go the other side of the camera, or we don't like it.
We love telling people how to react in front of a camera.
100%.
Yeah, I mean, you've done the event here, didn't you? And you were doing the posing and that, and
that's it. It's good to But I think the thing is that when you feel vulnerable, because people watching this, people looking at their photos. No one's going to look at it the way that we're going to look at it. Absolutely. I'm going to look at it and go, oh, my voice, oh, my this, but to a degree, and then I kind of just go, that is what it is, Hannah, just deal with it.
You have to be like that. Yeah, you just have to.
Otherwise, you can go over it. But the trouble is that having your picture taken and having your portrait taken, especially when it's going to be representing your brand or everything else that you do, it's how you come across. it does make you feel a little bit vulnerable. So you're right. You need to be with somebody who you feel you can trust and is going to deliver that for you. Yeah, 100%.
So what's next for you? Because you do both, don't you? You still very much do both, the educational and the photography. Yeah, and it seems to be like a really lovely balance.
Yeah, again, I think that is one of the reasons that I am able to connect with people in the way that I do, is that I'm not just sitting on my high horse telling everybody what to do and not actually doing it myself. I'm a real life working photographer, and I think that's the other reason that the brands kind of are interested in working with me, because I show it in real life. You know, I show real life scenarios. This is what happened, this is what went wrong, this is why I chose this kit, this is why this happened, blah blah blah. So I'm very much, and I like the difference, I like the split, because it's real. They're completely different jobs.
You're not doing
variation, isn't it? It's not same. Yeah.
That's it, exactly. Yeah. And I think if you do have a bit of variety where you can with your work, is that it just keeps everything fresh. So 1 minute you're doing this, so my last thing I did before being here, I was at an event all day on Saturday with a retailer teaching. So that was that. And then I've got this, and then I'm shooting for a theatre company, and then I'm doing this. And it's so varied. Yeah. But yeah, it's all over the place. So I think in early June, I'm off to Copenhagen, shooting a workshop over there, which will be really good fun, which is good.
And again, is that with lighting or?
No, that's an interesting one. So that's actually it will be. It's a portrait workshop. It's through Sony, but it's like basically what they wanted me to do was host a portrait workshop, which was for photographers using the higher end models of their cameras, but showing how I use it for studio and portrait photography.
Can I ask, you mentioned about how you got into pro photo.
Yeah.
And because you've also got the association with Sony.
Yes.
Which you've touched on.
Yeah.
How did that come about?
It just completely blindsided me. So it was one year at the photography show where I was on stage. There was a year where it snowed and it was really quiet and it was really weird. It had such a very strange atmosphere. Anyway, I just finished my talk and this lady came over to me and shoved someone's business card in my hand, and she said to me, "Promise me by the end of the day you'll go and speak to this guy. He's been trying to get hold of you." I was like, "What, Sony?" Well, I was shooting with Canon at the time. And I was like, "But what?" And she's like, "Yeah, he's been trying to get hold of you. Can you promise me you'll go and talk to him before the end of the day?" I was like, "I have no idea why." "Yeah, sure." "What? Who is this person? What is going on?" So I went and spoke to this particular guy who's now a good friend of mine. And he just sort of said to me, he said, "Look, he said, are you contracted with Canon?" I was like, no, I knew people there and they looked after me, but I wasn't under any contract or anything like that. And he said, "Well, we think that you'd really like using our kit." And this was when it was the transition from sort of a lot of, SLR stuff into mirrorless. And so he basically said, "Look, can we loan you some kit? See how you get on with it. If you like it, great, we'll talk further. If you don't, it's fine." And I'd already had a couple of discussions with previous brands and I just hadn't got on with it. I'm very much like, I will not say this is great if I don't like it. Yeah. I can't do it, cannot do it, and I won't do it.
Especially if you're working with it every day.
That's it. Yeah. There's no point. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of people in our industry that will jump from brand to brand to brand to brand if whoever's going to put some money in front of them. And I'm just not like that. I just think what we were saying before about being authentic, it's just not going to work. But actually, as it goes, I took it on a trip, and I took it on a trip to Santorini, and there were really hard conditions, deep shadows, very bright highlights. And
this is the white building, the woman on the white building.
Yes, so it's like real. You can imagine that midday sun, white buildings everywhere, bounce light everywhere. The shadows are really deep. And I was shooting with some friends of mine, and they had other brands as well. And at the end of the day, we were all looking at our pictures, and then we were looking at the Sony files, and they were like, "How have you got that much detail in your shadows? How have you still got that in your highlights?" I was like, "Well, I didn't do anything. I just did what I normally do." I just did the same process of what I did before. But as it turns out, the dynamic range that was available in that model of camera at that point in time was streets ahead. Yeah. And once that's there, it's very hard to go back again. So it was something that was like, wow, that really is quite impressive. So yeah, and then very, very shortly after that, they said to me, they were like, do you want to join us on our ambassador program? And I said, I don't think that's a good idea. I was like, I don't know anything about this camera. There's people that have been using it for way longer. I'm not sure that I'm in the right position to do this. And also, just to let you know, I'm not interested in what every single menu does in this camera. I'm just not going to be... if you need me to learn all that stuff and talk about it...
It's just not what I'm going to do.
I'm not going to, because it's just not where my passion is. And they were like, no, that's good. We have different ambassadors in different genres to take care of all the things. They said, we want you to show us and show people how you use this camera. So all the other things that it does that you don't use isn't relevant because they'll be relevant to somebody else. It's like, well, if you're sure. I said, it's up to you, But I decided to bite the bullet and just go for it. And this shows how much it's changed, because I was the first female from the UK to join the ambassador program.
Wow.
And now it's probably 50-50, which is good. But
that's amazing.
It's changed a lot in 8 years.
Go you.
Yeah, it's a weird one. But the funny thing is now, like I have actually left Sony. I decided that I haven't departed from the brand, but from the ambassador program, I decided to leave at the end of March, because just what was required. I love doing the teaching. I love the educational stuff. I love the videos. I love the, anything where it's like helping people. And where the ambassador program was heading was more so in the clicks, reels, social, places where I didn't feel that we were the perfect fit anymore.
Right.
So nothing, I'm still nothing against the brand. I'm still working with them.
Still using Sony.
Still using Sony, yeah. And that was the funny thing. When I got this email through, they'd actually asked me 2 years ago to do it, but I think that was in Stockholm. But at the time, my daughter was only 6 months old, and I was breastfeeding, so I was needed a lot, and I just couldn't justify being away from her for a whole day, even though they would have come with me, and they are all coming with me on the next one. I couldn't. I just felt in my heart and my stomach, I can't. It's not going to sit well. I'm not going to do a good job for them, and I'm not doing a good job for her. So this is something that can wait.
A perfect time to kind of just go separate ways, but on a nice agreement. And,
that's it. And then weirdly, 2 weeks ago, I got an email from Nordic again to say, could you come over? And I said, well, I don't know if it makes, I'd love to, but I don't know if it makes a difference to you. I've left the ambassador program in the UK. And they were like, so? We're like, we don't care what your title is. We want you to come over. I was like,
it's amazing though, to be working with such big brands.
It's weird. I think I don't think about it. If I'm being totally honest with you, I don't think about it, because again, I feel like it's one of these things that if you do give it too much thought, then
it's going to become overwhelming, wouldn't it? A little bit.
Yeah, and ultimately, at the end of the day, they're just people running. They're just people doing jobs like we are, and everybody's doing their jobs. Yes, they are big brands. A lot of people think that comes with big wages and all of this. It doesn't. It's not. You'd be very, very surprised. But the association, there are, I guess, and those things are no bad things to have. But I just try not to. I don't really think about it too much, for good or bad. I think you don't want to let it go to your head. You don't want to let it overwhelm you. Nothing like that. So it's, to me, they're another client. I need to do the job for them. No matter who they are, and as long as I do a good job and I do it well, then
keep doing it.
My job done.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Perfect. So going on to because you offer training days for people. So for someone that's watching, maybe they've just started, they've just got their first camera, or they've got a couple of clients and that. What would they get out of those training days?
So there's a couple of things that I do. I'll either do like a workshop, which tend to be a bit more fun, in the sense of like, sometimes people just want to come along to be around other photographers, set up some lights, work with a model, and enjoy taking photos. So some people come for the experience and to learn a little bit at the same time. So there's that side of things. Then I do the more intense one-to-one training. So I'll either do a half day or a full day, depending on the client. Those are very much aimed at people that want to learn, like really want to learn. So let's say that they've got a couple of lights and they're a bit hit and miss. Sometimes they're getting the results, sometimes they're not, and they can't figure out why, and they want to have the confidence and consistency in what they're doing to know that they can turn up with a client and, kind of get the results that they want. no surprises. And sometimes it can be that they're self-taught and they've learnt from YouTube or something. And of course, nothing's verified, with photography, I generally say there isn't much that's right or wrong because it's a creative subject. But there might be some things that they've been taught that aren't completely accurate, that might have worked for the person teaching them or something, or that's made a YouTube video. And they end up winding themselves up in knots because they're hearing all this different conflicting advice.
There's a lot of information out there.
That's it.
Yeah, there's so many different ways to get to the same place, isn't there, in photography?
Right. And then they're probably trying to trip up they end up tripping themselves up because they're trying to do it too many different ways. So it's just about stripping it all down, taking it down to the basics again and kind of going, okay, what is it that we're trying to achieve? Did you know that not just the choice of modifier that you use, it's the distance that you put it at as well. It's all these other things. This can affect that, can affect that, can affect that. And as long as they know, and I'm very much like I say to people, if they're watching my videos, I don't tend to show them or give them, I say to people about the settings, and the settings don't matter because unless you are in this room with this condition, with this lens, with this light, this modifier, this model, everything being exact, there's no point in you writing anything down because when you get home and you try and do it, it's going to be different. What I want to show you is how to achieve it from scratch, no matter where you are, so that you've got the tools so that you can go and do it whenever, wherever you want to, and not find yourself going, oh no, but that's not different from when I did it with Hannah, So it's very much about educating people to, feel confident using their own kit so that they can go and create what they want to. If you give people the right tools, they can go and create anything. So that's the idea, but it's all fun.
Do you think that's possible? I mean, it's a craft is something you develop over years. And with regards to training courses, is that do you find that you can break it up into smaller chunks so that people can take that away with them from a day or a 2-day or a 3-day? Will someone leave with a new skill effectively?
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm very fun, and I do say to people, that's why I try to sort of break it up a little bit into workshops, because some people, they just want to come out for the day and take photos and be around like-minded people and have fun, and there is nothing wrong with that. If that is what they want to do, that's what they should do. There's other people that will come to a workshop that really need to learn something or want to learn something. So it's about, kind of delivering the right information for each person. Things with one-to-one days, it's an open book. I always say to the client, I'm like, you tell me ahead of time. And sometimes we will spend half the session not even pick up a camera. It might be about marketing, it might be about business, it might be about branding, it might be about these things. So, and I always say there's no secret. I don't hold anything back anyway.
You've got me for the whole day. And
so it's not a regimented structure. This is good here. We spend half an hour on that.
No, it can't be. I think it's impossible to do that because each person's going to learn at a different pace. People are going to have there's different things that they want to learn.
They're all at different parts of their own journey as well.
Yeah, you're right, Charmaine. So I feel like it's very much something that you want to tailor. Workshops, it's a little bit more, kind of, I don't want too many people again because everybody wants to. I want everybody to get involved and to learn something and have fun.
They're quite intimate workshops.
I'll do my best never to do more than 10.
Right.
I think 10 is. I like 6. I think 6 is good. 5 or 6 because it's a nice small group. Everybody gets adequate shooting time. But I like it. I like people to have left. Some of the feedback that I get is lovely of people saying that I've been reading books, I've been banging my head against a wall, I've been watching all these videos, and what I learned today was more than what I've been trying to learn in 6 months or whatever. And that to me is like, job done.
So do they actually get to shoot a model, for example? Or, so you supply the model as well?
Oh yeah, definitely, because I feel like it's one of those, and I'll ask them, what kind of model do you want? Like, who's your client? Are we looking for? Are you looking to get into corporate work? For like, that's it. And many times, there's been times as well where I've done somebody that perhaps wants to get into corporate work. We haven't hired a professional model because, of course, professional models will do it for you. But if they're gonna, that's all good and well, but then they go out.
That's not what they're shooting.
That's right. They need somebody that's going to sit there like a potato, and they've got to learn how to undo the potato and make it into a beautiful fry. So that's it. You've got to learn.
You're so right, though. But
it's true. It depends what everybody wants, and sometimes it's the other way around. People really want to learn the lighting, and they'll find that they'll come to the posing side of things later. So they need a professional to take that heavy lifting off of them of doing the posing, etc. and just so that they can concentrate on the lighting. So it's all unique and tailored to the person and what they want. I think it's the best way.
That sounds amazing. You've held a couple here, haven't you? And it has been
great.
It's long days.
They are long days. They are long days, but again, I like to pack in as much as possible. The thing is, here as well, we've got literally everything that you could possibly want open to us as well. We've got the big white space. We've got each of these lifestyle sections, but each of these lifestyle sections, say that after some drinks, Hannah, present their own challenges as well. So, you couldn't, it's not just a case of whacking a light up and it's fine. If you want things to look like they've got dimension, we've got to hide lights in places, rim light things, you can create a completely different scene in each of these spots. So they're long days, but that's because there's a lot of toys to play with and a lot of areas to shoot in, and it's great. It's like, this is the best. This is so good for me to shoot here.
We love having you here anyway.
So. Oh, thank you.
So go on, let's go on to something a little bit, because I feel like your journey, there is so much that we could dive into.
It gets boring as well.
It's not boring, it's really fascinating, especially someone that's not a photographer, but I work with so many. So I'm loving hearing yours, and I feel like you could actually give our audience quite a lot. But I really want to know, I want one thing is, what's the worst thing that's ever happened on a shoot, and how did you fix it?
No, I was going to ask that. I was going to say, you beat yourself up so much. I'm like, right, come on. Something's going to have happened.
I mean, it's what I can repeat as well,
No, come on, go for it.
No,
I mean, in terms of, there's been, do you know what? If I actually had properly time to think, I could probably think of some better scenarios. But I remember one particular case where a guy wanted, I don't even know. He wanted some shots that I can't even explain what they're for. But he had a set of playing cards, he had a mask, and then he wanted me to apply eyeliner, and then he wanted the shots on his body.
On him, I assume.
Not on you. On him. He was like, I don't know how to do it. Can you do it for me? And I was like, what do you say? What do you do in that scenario?
I'm not a makeup artist.
No, or it was so awkward. And then he was like, I'm just going to get ready. And then I came in and he was like, I want these ones just in my boxers. And I was just like,
God.
Lord, where is this going? And I was like,
this isn't that kind of shoot.
I was just like, I don't even know.
I've got to ask, what was the mask?
It was like, one of those Venetian masks. Yeah, thank God it wasn't anything.
Oh, right, so it wasn't like a zip on the side.
Thankfully not. It was one of the, I mean, I don't know, thank you. I would have probably run. It's like, what do you do in these scenarios? Because a part of you's kind of going, I've got to do what the client wants, and the other part of you's thinking, this is insane.
Just get me out of here.
And I don't know what I just, for your own, thankfully, I mean, I would have felt far worse if I hadn't had people in the shop like my staff with me, because I just would have thought, this is going down the road, I don't want to go down. But there's been all sorts of things, guys. There's been all sorts of things.
I suppose 20 years you are going to have witnessed
there's not
quite
much
a lot.
that surprises me. People have brought snakes to shoots, and it's so weird. And I mean, I've got better now, being further on in my career. I've got better at kind of saying, I'm sorry, but I'm not.
I'll draw the line.
I'm not going to do that.
I suppose when you start off a business, you kind of just say yes to quite a lot,
I mean, that's it. I was young, and I kind of felt like I had to do everything that the client wanted, and it was very, very, very odd. But now, and there's some things as well that I won't do because I don't want, because I do work with these larger brands, and therefore if you are to Google me, a lot's going to come up that is related with those brands.
And it's your reputation.
That's right. Yeah. Then I need to now, I mean, because obviously your online presence has become a huge thing, especially in the last 10 years, and especially the last 5 years, it just gets more and more important. So therefore I like to limit and control a lot more. What I don't want is somebody doing some weird ass shoot and then tagging me all over the internet, and and it coming up when someone Googles me, because I'm like, I didn't even think of that. Yeah, do you know what I mean? Because all of a sudden, if somebody's tagged you in something, and even if you've
that's
just
your
thought,
name,
I've
your
done
name's
it,
against that, then
that's it. So if you,
which is so important in your industry, isn't it?
It is, and I think as you you are working with other brands and for yourself so much, you know, you kind of realise you've got to protect your own brand as well. And so there's some things that I've said, you know, like even if it's, and there's nothing against, you know, boudoir photographers in any way. They're wonderful. They do an amazing job. But for me, it just wasn't something, and I have done it in the past, like for people, and it's not where you wanted your brand to go.
It's just not on brand for Hannah Couzens, is it?
Well, it doesn't. I mean, there's obviously working with Profoto, especially a campaign that we did in Greece. We had to make sure that shoulders were covered, knees were covered, because obviously with respect to other markets as well. I don't then want to be, you know, Googled and then a lot of work is coming up, which is, you know, kind of doesn't fit in for those for my clients as well. So not that it's anything weird or seedy. It's just not, you know, somewhere, and a lot of corporate work as well comes my way. And that's not to say that corporate people don't have boudoir photos. Of course they do.
But it's two very different types of...
I think it comes to a point when you kind of need to also narrow down and channel what it is that you do.
Absolutely.
So where the person comes to look at you and goes, are they right for the job? Are they my person or not? And if it's very clear that it's ring fenced, if this person does this and they do it well, and they don't do anything else, then I think it's much easier for people to make
Because I think
decisions.
as well, a lot of people starting out, a photographer, I'm a photographer. Yeah. It's like saying I'm a mechanic.
Yeah.
But, you know, could you work on a Ferrari or a Land Rover? You know, you've got to find your niche. And that's what I try and say to people is that, you know, they're one weekend doing a wedding, the next weekend they're doing a corporate shoot, the next weekend they're doing a car show. And it's like, you've got to find your niche. You've got to find your thing. You know, whilst you feel like you're taking on lots more work initially, what you're actually doing is probably turning away a lot more because people are looking at your profile and thinking, well, what do they actually do?
Yeah, that's it. I think there's nothing wrong. I actually think it's a good thing to go and try all different genres so that you can go and go, you know, like, certainly for me, I was like, well, weddings are a no. Like, I'm just not doing that. And then there's other people that are so good at weddings and do it beautifully, and that's for them. And that's amazing. And as a bride, I would probably want to hire somebody that was really into what they did rather than someone going, oh, I really don't want to do this. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't work for anyone. So good to dip your toe in the water for everything to start off with. And then that helps you, like you say, figure out what it is that you really want to do and then narrow down and, specialise as much as you can. It's hard to say no to work. Of course it is, especially when you're starting out. You want to do a bit of everything. But I think where possible, it is a long-sighted thing to kind of go, if I say no to this now, it'll probably help me in the long run, which can be hard when you're first starting out. But I think if you can, it does help everybody have a more clear vision of where you're going and what you are. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, quick fire round
now.
Let's go. Let's see if you can do this.
Hang on, have I got the questions?
There's going to be no filter.
So I'm terrible with these cards. I shuffle them while I'm going along and then okay, fine. You carry on.
One non-gear essential that you take to a shoot.
Non-gear,
because obviously you're going to stay at your camera and your lighting, aren't you? So something that's not
non-gear related, probably hand sanitizer. Hand sanitizer and polos, because everyone shakes your hand and you're all over the computer and everything, and then you're shaking everyone else's hand, so I'm kind of like,
hand
and then you've got
and polos.
Yeah, good mix.
Is there
don't ask what the polos
Come on, Rob. If your stink gets not good, you'll put coffee breath over clients. It's not good.
A dream person or brand that you would love to work with?
Oh, I think I've always said this, but there's two people that I would love to photograph, just because I think they're awesome. I would love to photograph Sir David Attenborough, and I would also love to photograph Dame Judi Dench as well.
Oh yeah,
I think they're two amazing, epic people that have so much.
Just cutting in there, you have photographed some pretty famous people, haven't you, in the past?
Yeah,
Do you want to give us a quick snapshot, pardon the pun, of a couple of people you photographed in the past?
Do you know what? Everyone's been lovely. Everyone has been lovely. And often it can be sometimes that they're lovely, but maybe their agents are less so. Or even people will really surprise you on set. But I'm always, it's the same thing that I think people will... I don't ask for selfies. I don't do anything like that. I respect the person and their privacy and treat them like a normal person. And then as soon as they realise that they are being treated like a normal person, they behave like a normal person. Do you know what I mean? It sounds ridiculous, but
I've experienced that.
All of a sudden, the person, they know that you're not trying to get anything out of them, or kind of like all funny around them. I just treat everybody the same.
Are you able to drop a few name drops?
Yeah, well, one of the nicest people that is, again, people aren't sure of, was Vinnie Jones. He was lovely to me. It wasn't like he certainly, there was a few things that happened on set that, a couple of people upset him for asking him to do things that they wanted him to go and sit in the pub with a pint. Well, he doesn't drink. And he hasn't for a long time. So I could see why he'd say no. That was a clear no. Yeah. He wasn't unpleasant about it, but he was like, I'm absolutely not doing that. And that's fair enough, because why would you? If you're trying not to drink, that's the wrong thing. Why would you
put them in that situation?
Exactly. Yeah. And no matter what anybody's trying to do, you don't want to put somebody backwards on their journey. Yeah. So that was just but he was super lovely. And one of I'll tell you the nicest thing was I was shooting for 2 different brands. He was fronting 2 different brands that day, and he got to the end of the shoot. Because I kept checking, I was like, "Are these full-length shots?" And just checking. And then they would be like, "Yes, please, yeah, 3/4 and full length." I was like, "Sorry, I can't help it. I just want to get into the face. I'm a headshot photographer." And so at the end of it, he says to his business partner, he was like, "Danny, are we done yet?" And I was thinking, "Oh God, he wants to get out of here." Yeah. And he was like, "Yeah, we've got everything. It's a wrap. That's fine." And he was like, "Okay, great." He was like, "Right, Hannah, this is your time. Shoot what you want." And I was like,
"Oh wow,
oh wow,
are you joking?" Yeah. And I was like, no, you've been working so hard all day. And he was like, "No, you said you're a headshot photographer. You want to, he said, you shoot what you want." And he gave me his time.
That's so nice.
And I was
guy.
Yeah. Like, I was not expecting it. He'd been working all day long, and we had not stopped shooting. And then he sat down, and it was funny because there was a couple of probably behind the scenes photos. He's sitting there holding a reflector, and people are like, "I can't believe you made Vinnie Jones hold his own reflector." I'm like, well, by that point, we'd been taking the piss out of each other.
You've been talking all day. Yeah,
that's it.
But he is just a normal person.
He is a normal person. And do you know what was so funny about that, guys, is that out of everything that we shot, thousands of photos, they ended up using the headshot that I took at the end. So it just shows you. Yeah, it's funny. So it just shows you that when you've got a combination of people, I lit him how I wanted to light him. I framed it how I wanted to frame it, and chose the colours and everything, and it ended up being. I mean, I'm not to say they didn't use any of the others, but for a lead image, because I was really surprised. I was like, "Oh my God, they've changed." I was like, "That's really."
Are you able to say what it was for, or is that?
Oh, there was a few things. I mean, if I can barely remember, one was a crisp company. I can't even remember what they were called. One was a flooring company. All sorts of different things. Nothing that you would go, "Oh yeah, it was that." There was many different things that he was endorsing, and which I think he supports a lot of businesses as well, as lots of startups as well. So there was nothing I don't know. They're brands that I can't remember off the top of my head, if you know what I mean. But he was super lovely.
Well,
excellent.
You two, I feel like, could sit here and chat shop all day long.
I know, it's been different today.
I know. Well, even are we? You did most of the talking this time.
I'll give you a break, Charmaine.
Give me a little bit of a break. I am going to wrap up on that though, because I do feel like this would end up being hours long. So I just want to say a massive thank you to Atkin & Time, who is our sponsor for the gorgeous furniture that we have. This is available to use at the studio and move it around our set. So thank you very much to Atkin & Time for this. And also, Hannah is here all the time. She utilises this studio. She's local. She is a phenomenal photographer. If you do want to use her, please feel free to contact us and we'll be happy to put you in touch with her. So thank you, everyone, for today.
Yeah,
thank you so much for coming in with me. And I'm probably back here next week. I'm Thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks.
Lovely. Cheers.
You have been listening to The Green Room from Hertford Studios. We'll see you next time.